Hey Scrap Bosses, welcome back to another process video here on the Victoria Marie YouTube channel. Today I am making another 8.5 by 11 layout. It's called Hello Weirdo, where I am documenting some silly antics of my crazy spouse. But before we get started with that, make sure you hit the subscribe button. When you do, click the bell indicator. That way you'll know each and every time a new video is posted to this channel. Let's get started. To get started, I have two photos of my spouse who put stickers on her forehead that she peeled off from a half price books book that we purchased not too long ago. Those photos are trimmed down to 3x3, and I also rounded the edges because I really wanted some soft edges on this layout. And of course, a corner rounder will do that for you. So I have those photos printed. I'm going to position them there, and I'm creating sort of a grid design with this one. Now, a grid doesn't always have to be like your traditional grid where all the elements are the same size. I also printed my journaling on some vellum. I have some wood veneer pieces as well as a piece of doily that you're going to see me use here in just a second. And I also have some pattern paper strips that I cut up. And here I'm just showing you some of the items that I may or may not use on the layout. Some puffy stickers from We Are Memory Keepers, some labels, some old labels from, oh goodness, who was that by? I can't even see. Some Felicity Jane stuff, some Heidi Swap stuff, as well as some stamps that I might possibly use, maybe even a little bit of die cutting there, using some dies, I'm not sure. We're going to see how this comes together. So I have this pattern paper. I want to say that's from a Becky Higgins pattern paper pack, at least the gray and white one, polka dot. I also have some blue pattern paper and some yellow pattern paper, all these from different manufacturers. And this just came out of my little scrap bag. So anytime I cut into paper, I have a little scrap bag that I keep by my desk. And I pulled out these colors because they correspond well with that dark gray background. This layout is 8.5 by 11. Which is also the reason why I trimmed my photos down to 3x3, because I wanted those photos to fit on there nicely along with the other elements. Now, because the camera is focusing on that dark gray background, some of these elements may look a little washed out, so just bear with me. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and lay down those pattern paper strips. I just cut them a little bit under 1 inch, at least the top one, and the other two are maybe 1/8 of an inch or 1/2 inch, something like that. I added some adhesive to the bottom part of that vellum, and notice how it's showing there. Well, that won't matter because I'm going to cover that up with a little bit of that pattern paper. I'm going to get that positioned, and of course I don't have an eye for straight, so I put it down and pull it up. Y'all know that's how I roll. I'm going to go ahead and put down the thin stripe of blue to coordinate with the blue that's at the top. Now I'm going to get my elements on the page back to the grid design. And of course those elements don't all have to be the same size in order to create a grid. So I'm going to get those all lined up, trying to make sure that I have a little bit of space in between those elements. I'm going to go ahead and lay that down. Now, the pattern paper there, I want to say that's a creamy gray color with the white polka dots. I believe that's from Becky Higgins. And then the yellow one, I'm not quite sure what collection that's from. Again, I just reached in my stash and grabbed some paper that was coordinating. Also, I wanted to make sure that I just use as few colors as possible to keep this layout pretty simple. Usually when I'm doing a clean and simple layout, I don't like to use a ton of elements, and if I can stick to just a quick, simple color scheme, then I'm going to. So I'm adhering all of these elements down, but the photos I'm going to pop up using some fun foam. That's going to give a little bit of added dimension on the layout. It's a great way to add some interest to your grid design. Now, if you follow me for some time, then you know grid designs are my go-to. And because I want to keep this simple, I thought a grid would work perfectly. Once I have the photos and the paper all lined up the way that I want, I'm going to go ahead and embellish. I have some embellishments on this page that have been in my stash for a very long time. So that wood veneer hello, I want to say was from Scraptastic from many years ago. I got this doily piece that one of my retreat guests gave out one year. She had a whole stack of doilies, and so we all got to shop her doily stash. I also have a ton of wood veneer that it seems like forever for me to get through, mainly because I keep buying wood veneer pieces. Maybe I should stop doing that and use what I have on stash, which is a total lie. I don't even know why I said that. We all know that's a lie. I'm going to keep buying more. Alrighty, so I have those wood veneer pieces laid out the way that I want to. I'm going to do a little something to those in just a second. I also have this My Mind's Eye. That's what that label sticker's from. My Mind's Eye label stickers. That one says date. I'm going to use that as an anchor for a little puffy embellishment from We Are Memory Keepers. So I'm going to add this little cactus here because why not? And there's no other reason for me to use this cactus. I'm just going to stick it right there. And I think that adds just a little bit more pop of color to the layout so it's not just all gray and white and blue. And I think that's as far as I'm going to go with the colors. So I'm repositioning that just a tiny bit to make sure I have it where I want. Now I'm trying to decide what I want to do with my title. So the title is going to be Hello Weirdo. And I'm going to use that wood veneer piece as part of the title. And then I'm going to add these Felicity Jane letter stickers, and they're a white letter sticker. I love Felicity Jane stickers so much. I love everything that they make. I'm going to spell out the word weirdo, and at the end of that, I'm going to put a little exclamation point. My spouse does a lot of weird things. In fact, my little family of 3 is just, we're all a bunch of little weirdos. We're always doing something. And I like to capture these everyday moments. It also speaks a lot to our personality, for sure. Okay, so now that I have that adhered, I'm trying to audition a few other things on the page. I thought I was going to use this arrow sticker, this yellow and white arrow sticker there at the bottom. It's not going to work. So I'm going to put that back on the sticker sheet and move along. Next up, I'm going to pull out, I want to say, a Felicity Jane label set. Yes, that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to get that open. There's a label there. It's white with yellow trim, and it says today. And I wanted something next to the word weirdo to kind of round that out just a bit. I'm going to trim off the perforated points there, add a little bit of adhesive to that, and stick it right there. Now I'm trying to decide, do I want to stamp on that? Not sure. I'm going to look at some embellishment options. Nope, don't want to put that there. So instead, I'm going to come over to my Heidi Swapp labels, and I'm thinking, those are a little bit too cream. So I'm going to move away from that. I'm going to do a little bit of heat embossing. So I'm going to take these little wood veneer pieces. Now this cloud wood veneer piece has a bit of texture on it, and it's going to look really cool once it's heat embossed. I don't know if it's going to show up here on camera. I'm adding some Wow heat embossing powder. It's like a turquoise color. Get that on the wood veneer piece, and then of course I'm going to heat that with my heat tool. Don't know if you knew this or not, but embossing powder is just really, really tiny specks of plastic. And when you hit it with your heat tool, it melts on your element, which is also very cool. I have some hearts that I want to go ahead and heat emboss as well. So 2 of them I'm going to heat emboss using that green heat embossing powder. And to one of the other hearts, I'm going to go ahead and heat emboss that with some white embossing powder just to add a little bit of differentiation between those hearts. And not all of the wood veneer is going to be that kind of turquoisey green, blue, whatever color that is. So now I have the elements all heat embossed. I'm going to go ahead and add them to my layout. Now heat embossing is a great way to add a little bit of interest to some of your elements, particularly wood veneer. I'm going to leave the top wood veneer piece that says Wild at Heart. I'm going to leave that just the way that is. And I want to say that was from Scraptastic as well a few years ago. And now I'm going to lay down all of these pieces, just adding a little bit of Tombow Mono adhesive, and hopefully those will stay on there. We get quite hot and humid weather here in Texas where I reside, and I've noticed that my embellishments have been falling off my page. So I'm going to have to use some stronger adhesive for some of them. I'm thinking that this Tombow will be okay. So I'm going to get those all lined up there. I have a line of hearts with that white one there in the middle, and then I have my cloud, and I'm good to go. I'm going to add a little bit more texture. Again, at this point I'm trying to think, I don't want to over embellish this layout because I really like the simplistic design of it. So I'm just going to add some enamel dots because when in doubt, add some dots, right? I think I just made up a thing. So looked for some more enamel dots out of my stash to make sure that the color is coordinated. Because I brought in a little bit of that coral color, I wanted to also find some enamel dots that had the coral color in it as well. So I think all of those colors work well together. Not going too crazy, but still a pop of color nonetheless. All right, sweeping off any excess embossing powder. And there we go. Clean and simple layout using items all from my stash, focusing on coordinating colors versus matching, of course, and keeping it very simple and clean and focused on the story of my weird spouse and her weird antics. All right, so if you want to see stills of this photo, make sure you head on over to the Victoria Marie blog. Also, while you're there, make sure that you subscribe not only to the blog, but I also have a weekly newsletter that comes out every Friday. So make sure that you subscribe. That way you can stay up to date on all the happenings with Victoria Marie Designs. This video was made possible in part by the Victoria Marie Scrap Boss patrons. If you're looking for exclusive Victoria Marie content you can't find anywhere else, consider becoming a patron through Patreon. A link with more information and to join is posted down below. And as always, don't forget to subscribe when you do click the bell indicator. That way you'll know each and every time a new video is posted to this channel.